Hello everyone, today we're going to the front lines of the Great War, in Roblox of course. Whizzbang by Captain Woodlegs is a game taking place in the trench warfare of World War I. In total, it's reached a total of 6.8 million visits since it was created in 2023.
Without further ado, rule Britannia. Let's rule that enemy trench.
Whizzbang runs with a repetitive round system, with all quote-unquote dead players responding at the beginning of each round, and one round represents one in-game day. There is a daylight cycle for the rounds, which on average takes like 4 to 5 rounds for one full cycle. There are 7 classes you can play as in Whizzbang. Each one plays a specific role in aid of the trench, which I will explain here. The Rifleman is where you are given a standard issue rifle to soldiers during the Great War. You're also given a melee weapon and a grenade. Automatic is basically the same thing as a rifleman, but you're given an automatic rifle. As an engineer, you're given a shotgun and this weird coil thing to defend the trench. As artillery, you're given a melee weapon and unlimited artillery shells. You can use one of the 4 units of artillery above and behind the trench to open fire upon the enemy. As an officer, you're given a flare gun and a revolver along with a knife. As a sharpshooter, you're granted the permission to own a sniper rifle along with a melee weapon. As a medic, you get medical supplies, a prosthetic kit, and a syringe to heal wounded/sick players. You are also able to purchase outfits using Robux, which add no advantage other than making you look more cool. Most game passes in the game span from 25 to 100 Robux, with the only exception being a razor for being 2,000 Robux. Now for the lobby, there's a bar, a table for gambling, and a metal crate. There's also a last will paper that you can type in a will that drops when you die, which is pretty neat. The trench is medium size with a front and back section. In the back, players spawn in every round, however the back has 2 other uses. On the back left of the trench there is a corkboard with a typewriter to start raids. I will go further in depth about this later on. On the back right, a hot air balloon will occasionally show up where you can buy healing items and lanterns. Every round, a group of hostile NPCs named Jerry will raid the trench. The players will need to kill them. The Jerrys have different classes, with a few being unavailable to the players actually. These classes are Rifleman, Stormtrooper, Grenadier, Flamethrower, Officer, Sharpshooter, Medic, Trench Raider, and Tank. These classes of Jerrys will vary depending on the time and round that your server is in. Now you may wonder, why can't we raid their trench back? Well, good viewer, you can with raids. Trench raids can only be executed when you decrypt an encryption letter using decryption guides, which are dropped from the Jerrys. Raids are pretty difficult. Hell, I've played the game for a total of 9 hours as of writing this, and I've only successfully completed 1 raid within that time with competent team. Other than that, there's medals in the game which are given based off badges awarded to the player. Most are easy, some for sniping, and some for healing others. The last one, however, is for raiding trenches, which, as previously stated, is extremely difficult. Some threats in the game, however, are always apparent actually, like 24/7 artillery barrages by the enemy. You can lose a limb or even die from the explosions caused by the artillery. Your character can also be affected by a feature called shell shock, which causes the smile to turn into a frown if close enough to an explosion. So when you've been alive in the game long enough, you will start to see Jerrys approaching you that aren't playing a walking animation. These are called hallucinations, which can be a bit of a pain when you're defending the trench. I believe it's supposed to represent how the soldiers of the Great War would hallucinate the enemy approaching the trench, or more enemies approaching the trench during a raid. While Whizzbang is a bit of a repetitive game in my opinion, it proceeds to make you have a good time without giving in too much. I personally really enjoy what Captain Woodlegs makes, and I really hope he create more masterpieces like these games. Alright, now I'll see you guys on the front line. Bye bye.